All right, everybody. I think we're live. Hello, welcome to the IKS third birthday party. Happy birthday to the International Kriegspiel Society. We might be joined by one or two other people. I am actually going to go ahead and put the link in general, even though that should be terrifying. I should have done that beforehand, but I'm going to put it into general. And so any of you who are in the IKS can join if you can find where the general chat channel is, because I sure as heck can't, because this thing is a monster. Oh, it's minimized. No wonder. There it is.
It shows how much we've grown, right?
Right? Oh my gosh, it's out of control. We're big boys now. Pretty soon I'll learn how to use the big potty. And there we go. It's off to the races. You know, that's when your kids are that's the milestone. Not when they sleep through the night, not when they take their first step. It's when they go to the potty and they can clean up after themselves. Yeah. Then you can basically abandon them after that. Teach them how to make mac and cheese in the microwave, and you're good. You're good.
Oh, great.
You're good. I think Achilles is here. And of course, his camera's completely dark and off. I can only hear him clicking around. We'll let him get squared away. Then we'll add him back to the stream.
Right.
And then we'll begin our celebration. Did you make a hat, Jan? You didn't.
No,
you don't have a hat.
But
no
hat.
hat.
I brought a beer. So there we go.
Yes, I've got my coffee. Oh, there he is. There he is. Let's add him to the stage. And there he is. He doesn't. Is that a birthday hat you have on?
Yes, it's for the birthday of Madrid, Spain.
Oh my gosh! There you go.
1561. There you go.
I grabbed my hat and I've got my birthday hat on.
You misspelled it.
Oh, hang on. I have it the wrong way around. Oh, I'm gonna have to change here. Here we go. There. All right. I don't know. Does it look backwards to you guys, or can you read the text?
No, it's all right.
You can read it?
Yes.
I brought snacks because it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So who doesn't eat nacho Doritos at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, here I am. Made myself breakfast this morning, which is why the hat looks the way it does, because I was busy cooking breakfast. But there you go. Can you read it?
Sure. At least happy birthday.
Because it looks backwards to me on the thing.
I see. Yeah. I see
what
you did.
Blocks are better than minis. Absolutely needs to be there. Yep. So, expressing my full character, it's a custom birthday hat. I had it made custom for this purpose by myself.
Oh, awesome.
Well, happy birthday to us, right? And
yes.
To all of you who are out there, I never had any idea that this was going to be crazy like this and just explode. Although that was my dream. I just figured that, like every other dream I had, it would just kind of wither and die. And instead, it actually succeeded. And I'm still broke. I'm still poor. So I guess that counts for the wither and die part, But that being said, it is
100 years old now, right?
That's right. I'm getting up there. It also happens to be 200 years after the introduction of Kriegspiel to the general staff. If I had been a smarter man, I would have waited until this year to found the IKS. But, hey, we got close, I suppose. And we have all kinds of cool stuff going on, right? The Wall Street Journal wants to use our pictures, and somebody wants rights to a picture that you took, Jan. And
remember to forward me that email.
I pasted it into your Discord chat, your private.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay.
But just so that I can directly answer that.
I did forward it to you originally, but I don't know why you didn't get it. Probably misspelled your name in the email.
But anyways, we are also like I don't want to say regular, but almost regular guests now at military institutions, taking part in training exercises and so forth. So there are lots of practitioners out there who come to us to ask for advice and help. So that's also one of the aspects. Of course, the majority of the community still is and always be just sort of a hobby and enthusiasts community for playing Kriegspiel. That's awesome and great, but I think it's also awesome and great to sort of have these other aspects being part of what we achieved over time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's really cool is how I'm doing the military training thing too. I haven't told you guys about this, but whenever they need to teach a private, the basics, they bring me in and they practice on me, and somehow they learn from it. I don't know. But,
have you figured out which one is your left foot yet?
Can I have multiple choice?
we'll put a rock in you. We're gonna put a rock in your left hand, and that way you'll always know which one is your left hand.
There you go. There you go. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to find a layout that kind of works and I don't have to mess with it all the time, but
Yeah,
I don't
this one is good.
Yeah, this is just gonna have to do. I'll just be at the bottom. I'm hoping more people will join in. If they do, that's wonderful. I know that we have some other stuff going on. KB has a big debrief that is way more popular than our little birthday party here. I didn't know that he had his scheduled at the same time. So my apologies to KB for scheduling our third birthday party at the same time as your debrief. But
you should have thought of that 3 years ago.
I should have planned it, Well, actually, our birthday's May 31st, and even I got confused because I started getting renewal notices, and I'm like, really? Is it May 30th? And so I kind of announced it a day too soon. But
most of us are just grateful that you didn't decide to found it on Leap Day.
Right? Then we would have only been not even a year old. You'd have to go one more year. Actually, this last year was a leap year. But yeah, there you go. February 29th would have been great. And that would have really thrown some people off, huh? Pirates of Penzance here. If anybody gets that leap day reference. But anyway. So, yeah, I'm pretty thrilled. I think one of the things that we need to talk to people about, because people always ask about it, is the history of our org. We're constantly getting questions about that, actually. And I just tell people that it just, I had my little Southern California group going on in Los Angeles for years and years. I threw up a Facebook page to kind of coordinate everything. And then people from all over would just come in and be like, well, can I join? It says California. I'm not from California. I'm not from Southern California. And I'm like, of course you can join. Why not? It's just kind of a hangout for all of us. And eventually I just decided we need to change the name of this group so that people feel welcome everywhere we are. And that's what we did. And after that, it just kind of really took off. We put out the welcome mat, and we got rushed. And we had people like Achilles come in here. And, the neighborhood's been going downhill ever since. But.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Achilles,
I think you should come up with a better origin story. Something along the lines of how when you were born, you and your twin were born. The current leader of Kriegspiel thought that you were prophesied to take over someday, so he had you and your twin put in a basket in a river, and you were floated downhill, and then you were pulled out and suckled by a chihuahua, and
a dog has to be a dog.
Yeah, exactly. And then eventually you founded the IKS, but your brother wanted it to be called something else, so you had to kill him. Something along those lines. I think that would be great.
Something to do with miniatures.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. He wanted miniatures. You wanted blocks. Therefore, you were forced to kill him, and thus the founding of the IKS. Right.
Ooh,
like it.
See what I. Yeah, Jan actually caught me looking at this when he came on. I was like, wow. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm studying for an exam, PE, physical ed. Yeah. Yeah, we do need a cooler origin story, don't we? Oh my gosh.
I think it's pretty good. We've just passed the 2,300 members mark on the Discord server, that is. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. What about you, Marshall? Is it what you envisioned back then?
No, I envisioned a complete and total smoldering crater of an effort. So this has definitely exceeded those expectations. But no, it's not what I envisioned. Oh my God, my hat is just going everywhere, isn't it? It's more trouble than it's worth at this point. I'm wearing it like a unicorn because I've got my headphones on. But there we go. I think it's run its course. So I will set it aside. I think the real question, though, is where do we want to go with ourselves over the next year, 2, 3 years, or whatever? I'm really thrilled that, Jan, that we have people like yourself who are making those inroads into the professional side of things. At the same time, we have people like, KB, who right now he's running this big, huge debrief. And, well, I can't find my window now because I don't know how to internet. But he's running this huge debrief right now. If I go here like that, boom, and you can just kind of see on my screen, it's, but here he is, he's doing a debrief of his campaign, and I think that's awesome. And so we have these casual games, and when I say casual, they really range. You have some stuff that people just kind of throw out there and they run, real quick, off the cuff, if you will. And then we have games like what KB ran, which are these campaign games. We have other people running campaigns. I'm running a couple campaigns. And then we have people who are running like Nick, who is running this huge Grand Gettysburg part whatever campaign. It's a 3-part campaign. And it's this huge event that goes, I think it goes down, and I don't know if it goes down to the brigade level. I think it goes to the division level, but it's Gettysburg all over again, And then, of course, we have professional practitioners who are playing in that game. I think they're the other side. And it's just a thrill to see that we have all these different levels of gaming. We have all the different eras represented, from ancients to science fiction and everything in between. We have naval stuff going on. I'm running a World War II U-boats campaign right now on another IKS server. Oh, it's just so awesome. We're running political simulations. I don't know how it can get better, but I'm sure it can.
I think I saw just the other night James was running a naval game of Rome versus Carthage.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it was fascinating. Where else are you going to find that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And when you play it in a double blind real-time format with, umpires and stuff, we're moving everything. You don't have to worry about the rules. It's just an amazing game. It's an amazing way of playing a game. And that's the biggest thing about Kriegspiel. A lot of people, you play Kriegspiel and they're like, well, what system are you using, or where can I get the rules, or whatever? And while all of that does exist and we can answer those questions, it's a per case basis. But a lot of times it's more a way of wargaming. And that's what people have to understand, that Kriegspiel is more a way of wargaming, where it's double blind, it's umpired. And then kind of from there, the sky's the limit. You can play with things. Are you going to use maps? What are you going to use? And other things. Is it done with blocks? Is it done with miniatures? What do you do? And you can kind of go out there, and they're all kind of Kriegspiel. They're under that big umbrella, if you will. There's the small umbrella, which is the strict stuff where you have the blocks and the 2-minute turns and so on. But it's just really, really cool to see the incredible diversity of events and games that people can get into. And that makes me pretty proud and excited. I've always told people that success to me looks like I pull up to a convention someday. There is a Kriegspiel game that is being run by an IKS trained master umpire. I don't know who the heck this person is, and they don't know who I am. And if we get to that level, then we've arrived. That's where I'd like to be in the next few years or so.
Well, if you don't want them to know who you are, you're going to have to take down your life-size statue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll probably have to take that down. I'll probably have to take off the shirt that I wear to every convention that says, "I'm Marshall. I'm the founder of the IKS." Maybe I shouldn't wear that T-shirt anymore at the cons.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to ditch that hat, don't I? I guess so. Jan, where do you see us going in the next few years?
Oh,
He's
man.
like, well, first there'll be a coup.
Always. There needs to be one at least once per year. No, I think we will continue to grow as we do. The big issue, I think, will be to find ways to keep a large group of players engaged over time, and also umpires, that is. Because the bigger you grow, especially in an online environment, it becomes easy to just drop out and fade away, so to say. And nobody will notice because everybody is busy with their own stuff and keeps going. And so that is an issue to keep players as well as umpires engaged over time. Mm-hmm. But I think with the trend we are seeing over the past few months, if not years, we will continue to continuously grow, especially when running large events like Gettysburg and so forth, for which actually people can still sign up. We are looking for commanders. So if you're interested to play a 3-weekend event, then join the community. And then on top of that, I think there is a bit of a trend to bring the games, as you say, back into the physical realm, so to play more in-person games. And a good thing is with our global community that we have umpires from all over the world. So we have some over Europe, we have some over in the US and so forth. And they'll be able to attend several different conventions and conferences and present the game, run the games, and spread the word that way to reach people who would not learn about the IKS because they are not that much on the internet, or not in our parts of the internet at least. So I think there is even more, the community will grow even more, but there will also emerge a necessity, and we are already working on that. Several members of the community are working on that, to bring the lessons we have learned by running a diverse mix of various systems, bring those lessons back to the physical play. And that necessitates streamlining and so forth, because in the digital world, in TTS, we can put lots of info into tooltips and what have you, or even automate specific aspects, but in physical play, you can't. And then out of a certain, you are there, sitting there and having to do lots of bookkeeping, or otherwise the game will be just like superficial and very abstracted. So that's the design issue we are currently tackling, I guess. And I'm very much looking forward to what's coming out of that, and to the conventions and the physical games, and maybe even, I don't know, one day, hopefully, IKS conventions, right? So
absolutely,
we meet up somewhere in Europe, somewhere in the US, and have a weekend or a week of games, playing Kriegspiel, playing board games and all that stuff, and connecting.
Over the 4th of July weekend, I'm actually putting on a little event here with friends from all over the area. We're not actually going to play Kriegspiel. We're going to do other war games, but it's really trying to see if I can use my nice residence at the beach during the hot summer to get people out here, Basically, I'm tying a pork chop around my neck to get people to come play with me, like the dogs. But that's what we're doing, and so far so good. I've got a few RSVPs, but things like that, I'll pick a regular weekend or holiday and just run it every year, and things like that tend to grow and develop over time and get bigger. So that's kind of my hope. Start something that way. Achilles, what are your thoughts, man? Okay, there we go. Absolutely, I agree wholeheartedly. Where do you think we should go in the next few years? He's like, Rome?
Rome, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Madrid.
my entire existence is disheveled at the moment because I still haven't even completely unpacked from coming back from Rome. I think I like the two-pronged approach that we're doing now with the professional gamers or the professionals, and the larger hobby side, which is always going to be larger. It's always going to be the big part. And then anytime, like for example, you mentioned the Grant Gettysburg thing. Anytime we can intermingle those, let them play against each other, that kind of thing, I think that's a great experience for both. Because for one thing, if you're just an amateur hobby player kind of person and you're going up against professional people, you're going to learn something from those experiences, but they're going to learn something too, because you're going to do things that they don't expect. I mean, this is, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't in the book. Okay. This isn't what you do in that situation. Well, okay. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, I'm just going to do this. Right. Yeah, I think those are great experiences for both, and really give the organization itself some a status that it wouldn't otherwise have as well. And I love seeing more experimentation as well on what you can do with it, because you were talking about the various aspects of Kriegspiel. To me, I've never been able to come up with anything that I don't think you can't Kriegspiel. I don't think that you can. I think you can apply it to anything. It doesn't matter what it is: military, political, economic, emergency preparedness, you name it, corporate decision making. It can be applied to anything, and more experimentation in just what you can do with it, I think is really fascinating. I mean, for me, I love the idea of taking traditional games and turning them into Kriegspiel style games. I enjoy that. I think that's pretty cool, because
we did a whole talk on that.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty fascinating. And also maybe at some point, as you said, you talked about IKS conventions, maybe even I don't know, an offshoot at some point that might create Kriegspiels as a professional thing that is somehow associated to the IKS, that it's its own little sub-organization, I would think, or something along those lines, that goes to organizations and says, we have the expertise, we have the experience and so on, and we can create a scenario for you. Tell us, what you need, and we can create a scenario for you, and we can run it. And I think that would be pretty cool too. As an expansion of what this medium is capable of doing. And I don't see any limits at this point to what this medium is capable of doing. Anyway,
so that's I like that. I like your idea, or what you were talking about, that kind of makes me think about the professionals versus the amateurs, and the amateurs being like just a complete fish out of water.
Mhm.
which is a much harder fish to catch. If you've ever been fishing, it's very easy to catch a fish on the end of your hook versus a fish that's just flopping around on the ground and you're trying to catch it.
Mhm.
There's quite a bit of difference there. Jan, we got to put together a counterinsurgency thing
Mhm.
with the professionals running, the modern side or the high tech side or whatever,
Yeah.
and the IKS general membership being the insurgents. But we could, of course, put a twist on it and put it back 100 or 200 years in time. Take away the drones and the surveillance, and that would be interesting too. A good test of basic fundamental tactics for them, and a way for us to learn.
You could even keep that Napoleonic. You could make it Spain in 1810 or something.
That
You
would
know?
actually be super, super cool. Just run it as a play-by post. Let
Mhm.
everybody have time to think and talk and run it. It would be an interesting live game, but I think as a play-by post, it would be better because you need to carefully consider, plan, and talk things out, because it would not be a conventional, here's where the block is, or a partisan campaign. And you can even just red team, blue team it. Does it actually have to be set in history? You could do something that's set in World War II, where one team is the partisans and the other team is the occupying force, or whatever. You can set it whatever.
Mhm.
My latest fascination now is the football war between El Salvador and Honduras.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I
that'll
think
be
it really comes down to the purpose and the group you're running it for.
yeah.
Because I recently attended as an observer here in Hanover at a military a school in a staff manager course, and they ran a Kriegsgroup for the second time there, so it was a bit of an experiment still, and it didn't really work. So first because they didn't have enough umpires who knew what they did, so they recruited the umpire team basically from the participants, and there was one guy who knew how to run Chiswitz. So that meant they couldn't keep up with real time, right? Which then meant people mentally dropped out of the magic circle. And then the participants mostly were lower rank officers. So they didn't really have leadership experience or even combat experience. And they had a hard time to envision or to align the historical scenario, which they got on the first day. They got a basic introduction to how, well, that's the weapon types, this is how infantry works, this is how cavalry and artillery works, and still they had a hard time to apply that in the game and to sort of what's the, how to say that, well, to align the mechanics or the way of command to the modern understanding they had did not align to what they saw on the table, right? They weren't able to cognitively apply their knowledge to the model. And in the debriefing, many of them said, well, I like the idea, generally speaking, but why don't we run it on a 1 to 50,000 modern map with tanks and infantry squadrons?
So, stuff they understand.
Yeah.
And that's a problem I've noticed when playing with other modern practitioners. Is they tend to struggle when we go back in time and they don't have that advanced surveillance and they don't understand the weaponry of the period. You would assume they would be masters of this, but actually it's just like, I think we were playing that one game. I don't know if you were running it or what. And I had one guy want to park the artillery in the rear because he assumed the artillery could just lob shells over the heads of troops out to some ungodly distance. And we had to tell him it doesn't work that way, at all.
Yeah. Which I think is a very important point, not only in regard of practitioners, but just in general, that we always need. And I mean, we have these handbooks and menus and stuff which try to do that, but to provide the info you need for the basic understanding of what you're doing to players who are completely new to any given period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can understand that really well, because you're trained to think in a certain way. You have the doctrinal aspect to it, and this is what you know, and then you're presented with something you're not familiar with. Distances. I had this trouble in most of my early IKS games, was time and distance, because you're used to a completely different scale of time and distance, and just what can I cover? What kind of frontage can I cover with a particular type of force? It's radically different. That thing that I sent both of you today about the ABCT, just thinking about the fact that two tank companies could cover the entire battlefield of Waterloo. Okay, their frontage would be the entire battlefield of Waterloo. Okay, so just thinking of it in those terms, I mean, how do you change your outlook when you're looking at something like this, and say, it's just not what your mental image is, and it's really hard to get your head around. And I still have trouble with that when I play a IKS game that's set in a different era, or even when I play on tabletop with that other group that we won't mention. I struggle with that, because the tactics are very different, and what you're trying to apply is very different. So yeah,
absolutely makes sense. And they had run it the year before for the first time with a group of officers of higher rank, and then it worked, because they sort of had a different understanding of battalions and brigades and so forth. So
yeah, they're looking from way up high, and so the blocks don't. Yeah, the blocks are fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not thinking in terms of where's that squad, and which and am I covering? Am I doing a crossfire coverage? So yeah, if you're a brigadier, you don't care about any of that stuff. You're just telling them, move this unit to this location. I need to secure that area. That's somebody else's problem as to how they execute it. That's somebody else does that. And it's more staff oriented. That higher up, you're much more staff oriented. When you're company commander, you don't have a staff, so to speak, the same way. So at the higher level, it's more staff oriented, and you're pushing logistics, that kind of thing, because those are the things you're actually concerned about at brigade level, at division level. It's logistics. It's what support do I need in which location, and that kind of thing. Whereas when you're down at the lower level, your point of view is completely different. What you're looking at is completely different, and your concerns are completely different. So yeah, it actually, that makes sense. That makes really good sense. That at the higher up you go, the easier it becomes to adjust to. That makes sense.
Well,
I should have gone to staff college. Dang it!
Yeah, right.
I could have done another 10 years. I could have gone to staff college. I might have made lieutenant colonel.
I'm thinking I should have bought a cake.
You should have. And I don't know why you're not using an IKS mug. You got a mug with French fries on it.
This is an IKS mug.
It's got French fries on it.
It's the potential mug. And then on the other side, it says, not everyone gets to war game for a living when they grow up. So yeah,
and
that's
nowhere
right.
on it is the IKS logo.
No, but it is available in our Etsy store.
Okay.
So there you are.
There you go. Promote the merch.
Yeah, the regular IKS mug was further back on the shelf. This was the first one. I'm like, why aren't I not using it? Because I looked at it today, and then I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I was lazy. The fact is, in the whole hour before this show, I had to make my hat. I was hungry, so I had to make breakfast. I had to put all of this stuff together. So I just had a lot going on. And so I didn't really have time. You know, the coffee was boom, 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 coffee's on. You know, boom, 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 that's breakfast. Okay, I put more energy into this, as you can tell. You know, and I had to like, you know, put string on it, and I had to find a stapler. I'm married to a teacher and I couldn't find staples. So Lord.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
I
got them
know,
all at
right?
school, right? Just got them all at school.
I eventually did find them. So, you know.
Well, we gotta pump that revenue stream so that we can afford to send Jan to, like, you know, Fort Leavenworth, the Army War College, that kind of thing, you know, for live exercises. Get him to Leavenworth and let him work with Starrett.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be pretty awesome, actually.
That would be awesome. Actually, that brings me to a point regarding our Patreon. We're getting more supporters, and we're really thrilled about that. We had somebody increase their donation to $20. That was Aviator, is the username. I am absolutely over the moon with the outpouring of support that we've had over the past month or so since we've called for support for the IKS. And we're getting, you know, enough revenue in now that we're kind of almost there in terms of revenue, that we'll be able to start doing more stuff in the physical realm or whatever, get people out to conventions. You know, we can't pay for anyone's airfare yet or anything. But, you know, do things like buy maps and equipment or components that people need. We're getting there. You know, we at least have enough in our account that we can either pay all of our hosting costs for the year, or we can probably buy more blocks. And I think we should buy the blocks. I don't want to buy the blocks. Buy a set of blocks.
I need to boost my Patreon thing. I'm just too lazy. I haven't gotten around to doing it.
Well, you know what? I'll just pull it up. You just give me your credit card number here real quick.
There you go. We'll
put it right in for you. Yeah.
And maybe Jan, you know, if Jan doesn't mind flying standby on a C-130, we could probably get him over to the U.S. I mean, you know.
Sure.
There you go. K-Ross says, I don't know if the U.S. Army is desperate enough. There's a waiver for anything. And
that's true.
And this is give me a Lieutenant Achilles. So that may be military inside humor. I don't quite get it. I kind of get this one here about there being a waiver for everything. Yeah. You know, I mean, you got to get things done sometimes. You got to make some big exceptions. But yeah, absolutely. I like the idea, and I talked to Jan about this last week with regards to Kriegspiel, is actually getting away from some of the military side and getting into the civilian applications of this, in particular, things like crisis management and disaster relief. To me, that is really where I would like to see these things go. If we could take an efficient, talk about a guy who's never been in the service, right? Take an efficient military approach to solving some of these other problems that we have, which shows my ignorance, right? Because I doubt the military is that efficient. I think it can be when it has to be. But, you know, take an efficient approach to solving crises and other problems that we have, combating environmental dilemmas, social dilemmas, and other things. I think Kriegspiel is a powerful tool for exploring possibilities, gaming things out so that you actually have a clue when the real thing does occur, you know, if nothing else. It's like a drill, you know, and I think it has a powerful application in those realms, and I'd like to see us explore that more.
Mm-hmm. I think what it does, I think I've heard this described this way is, I mean, it's not predictive, you know, in a military sense for sure, but it's not predictive. But what it does is it presents you with the things you need to think about. So, for example, you know, you're presented with these problems, and then you realize, oh wait, we don't have enough of this. we don't have enough of this in stock, or we need more ambulances, or we need more trucks, or we need more, these kinds of things, so that you teaches you to think about the things you don't think about,
Right.
in advance, and kind of, it's a pressure test in that sense.
Yeah, and it's also about procedures and so forth. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes in these
Yeah,
exercises,
precisely.
people from different services will interact for the first time with each other, and then during the course of the game, one says, "Well, this is obviously the way we do it," and the other person goes, "What? No, our regulations have it this way." And then they get to talk about that and try to find a point to get together and solve the problem.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really good point. Yeah. You get a
Yeah.
chance to work with each other in a way that you don't at any other time, and kind of get to know the, what's this department's point of view on this, that kind of thing. What are they going to be concentrating on or focused on, as opposed to what I'm focused on? And if you're the overall guy, you're getting to see all of that interact, in a different kind of way,
Yeah. So and that just goes to illustrate, I think, a point. I think maybe you made this point earlier, Achilles, that you can Kriegsspiel just about anything. You can apply it to anything in the world, even in the business world. That would be an interesting simulation, because I dig economics. Like, I love economics. I like business. I'm a business person. I like the idea of, kind of like this Wall Street simulation or whatever, and companies kind of competing. I actually had an idea for a Kriegsspiel, which was where you have, I don't know if they were going to be car companies or something, but you're competing, and essentially it's a business Kriegsspiel, if you will. And you're competing in a market. But I was like, I had to limit so many variables to keep people from just going everywhere with it. But
I think if you're a CEO, let's say you're CEO of a large company, and you're going to look at it in really detailed fashion, like something specific, like what happens if a natural disaster disrupts our supply chain from China? The production facilities get destroyed in an earthquake or flooding, or even looking towards future possibilities, like as sea level rises, how does that impact our business? Is there an impact on what we do in our business, and how should we be thinking of that to prepare for the future in that regard? Is there something we can do now to lessen the impact or take advantage of the impact? Because a large part of what you do in business, there you go, exactly.
That's a cool picture. What is that a picture of? What is that?
I don't know. I think it's meant to be a businessman suit with.
That's not one of those books, is it?
It is.
It's a book.
That's a book. Yeah.
Does it have a lot of pictures in it?
There's a picture on the cover, but inside,
1984.
there's words.
There you go.
Oh, I hope there's not too many words. As an American, I don't read books. So we just watch commercials, and occasional show between the commercials.
But yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can even board game political stuff, right?
Yeah.
And as I was scrolling through my bookshelf, this is one you need to have.
Oh, you know what? I was going to buy that and have him autograph it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Peter passed away before I could make that happen. But,
yeah, that's.
I remember talking to him, and yeah,
a huge loss for the community. Yeah.
Yeah. But absolutely, yeah. These should be required reading for all of our master umpires and such. Or I would say excerpts. Yeah.
Oh,
no, we do though.
We have another
which is another thing that we do, because people don't know this, but we train master umpires, and that's different from just the vanilla run-of-the-mill umpire. And this is something that we need to work on and get the system down for the next few years to come. Because a master umpire is a person who can walk in or get online and put together a very large event with a lot of people and organize everything from promoting the event to writing up a rule system for the event to creating the materials for the event, getting them on the table or getting them online, and then running the event and overseeing everything from start to finish. That's what a master umpire is supposed to be able to do. And I think as part of that training program to certify a master umpire, because again, we want that title to mean something. But I think part of the training program should be, hey, we want you to read this, and I'm not talking about you have to read a 600-page book, but to read an essay or to read, a couple dozen pages here or there as part of your, kind of learning and development. I think that's very reasonable to ask a person to do, and to essentially formalize that process, turn it into something like a course where at the end of the course, you run your masterpiece. In the past, when I started this group, I just grandfathered people in, and the people I grandfathered in and gave that little crown to were people who I knew could do this because they had done it successfully. Myself included. I put the crown on myself. It's like the picture of Obama putting the medal on himself, right? I did that. But the fact of the matter is, I think there should be a substantial requirement, and we need to refine that program, and we need to formalize that program and run it routinely. And I believe so passionately in that, I'm submitting myself to that program. So I deleted my little master umpire title because I didn't need it anymore anyway. I don't want to umpire, but I do think I should go through the program. And I want to earn my credential, if you will. But that's what we want to do in the future here for the IKS, is standardize and formalize that program and get people reading some experts from some of those books that you showed, in particular Peter Perla, The Art of Wargaming, and probably a few others. Read Tashwitz at least or something, so you get kind of a sense of how old school Kriegspiel runs. Not that long of a read, and all of those things. So that's my thought on that. That's where I think we need to go, among other places. And we need to do that in the next few months, not even years, I feel.
I think they should have to read the chapter in Moby Dick that's about tying knots so that you can do naval warfare. Anybody that can suffer through that deserves the title. Okay, I can tell you right now. I had an entire semester on Melville's Moby Dick, and I think we did like half of it on that one part,
Can you believe I read that in high school for fun?
No, because there's something wrong with you.
It's the only time and place.
Clearly a masochist.
Well, when I was a teenager, I had this little kick where I was interested in seafaring, traditional seafaring. So I read 2 years before the mast. I read the Sea Wolf by, I think, Jack London or something. I read Moby Dick and a few others, and it was just really fascinating to me. I think if you really want to make people suffer, make them read through Karl Marx, where he talks about the value of a coat.
Oh dear God, yes.
Jan's probably laughing at that.
Here's Das Kapital. When you're finished, we'll quiz you.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's insufferable. That's when I hit a brick wall with that. The value of a coat
in the original German. You have to read it.
Well, Jan, I think, is good there, but yeah. But anyway, I do think there should be an academic process with some sort of courses, at least video lectures, if not a live in session or here or there. And ultimately, we need to formalize that process and get these people out there in going to conventions and running events that are at a certain level of quality. And Achilles, I think you can appreciate that. You were in Los Angeles in February, and we ran an operational level campaign of Antietam, and you were there as a glorified observer umpire.
and luckily to keep it well run and almost professional, we made sure that you were a player and not an umpire.
That's right. That's right. By excluding me, they actually greatly improved the quality of the game.
That's right. Quality went straight up. It's like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. No, I've got my notebook right here in the closet opposite me, on the other side of my desk, where I had all of my Star Wars. Remember that when I was tracking
Yes.
fuel and everything
Yeah.
else, and ammunition. What a disaster.
We made sure that you had the most meaningless job that no one was going to pay any attention to. It worked really well.
Well, what I learned is if you track fuel and ammunition, they're going to ask you for a report every turn.
Yes.
And you're going to be doing a lot more math every turn.
Unless you just start making it up.
Just make it up.
You've got half as much fuel as you had the last time you asked.
Yeah.
And every
I've
time
done
you just tell them that you have half as much as last time, because it can never go to zero. It's just cutting in half every time, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, that's like that Greek philosopher. Anyway, there's a philosophy or brain teaser question about that or something. If you go half as slow as you did before, will you ever arrive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Well, there we have it. I think we have some exciting stuff. I know that we have some exciting stuff in the works. We have come a long way, certainly. I'm very excited about that. But I really do think we're just getting started as an organization. And where we'll be, hopefully, a year and 3 years from now is going to be above and beyond where we're at now. I hope that the growth we experience over the next 3 years is just as surprising and jaw-dropping to me as the growth that we've had in the past 3 years, because I never expected that we would get here like this. I thought, I would have just a glorified hobby group. It would be an occasional one Saturday out of a month or two or whatever, here or there, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And that was it. And this has become kind of like a professional hobby for me. Like a part-time job. When you think of the hours that we put into this, whether it's running games or actually doing administrative work, we have a whole army of administrators and moderators who police the Discord, keep the Discord safe, who manage everything there is from the business side to organizing games, deconflicting issues and concerns. All of this stuff, it's actually quite a job. I should be paid for this, but I'm not. It's insane. That's how dumb I am. But I didn't negotiate my own pay. But it's incredible volume of work. And Jan, I know you do a lot of work. Take a look at our website, that you've put together and maintain. And Achilles, I know you do a lot of work too, mostly dealing with playing with your dogs and walking them. And
that's right. I don't know.
Eating your pieces.
My dogs are particularly fond of Japanese naval vessels. I don't know why.
Chicken flavor, no less. Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
But yeah, no, the whole team does so much work and effort, and the folks on the outside have no clue how much energy we have to put into this just to keep this thing afloat. But fortunately, we have a really good, healthy, and helpful group. We got people like Damon, who's constantly generating new pieces and other things for us. We got people like Wolfton out there who does maps for us on request. We have just all these awesome people out there. There's so many cool people. And
yeah, I think you should mention really some, like James, who runs games on Thursday. That are amazing games. I keep wishing that I could play in, but I watched them later, and they are amazing games. I would love to get into one. You've got Paul Lafondios, who is a big time contributor and is constantly putting things on the YouTube and that sort of thing. That is just excellent work. He does incredible work, and you can learn a lot just from watching those little multi problems that he does and those kinds of things. I think are fantastic.
Yeah, those are fun too.
We've got several people like that do just amazing things as part of the overall community that adds to everything.
Yeah, we're like the old lady who lived in a shoe, had so many children she didn't know what to do. There are just so many people that we can thank. Here are awesome. These are our paid supporters. These are people who actually give us money every month uh, to help out at some level. And I want to just put their names up here and tell them thank you. And we really appreciate your financial support, because we do need financial material support, not only to cover the costs of the organization, and there are costs. I think it comes out to about $700 a year, I think we figured, or something like that. There are costs for all the little things, but also the money above and beyond that, which we've reached the break even point now, and we're starting to get past that break even point where now we're having a little bit of extra money. And what these people are helping us do is they're going to help us to build more modules, get more maps, obtain more resources, create more in-person events, travel, network with professional practitioners and such, and do the things that are actually going to improve the quality of the experience for everyone in the IKS. I'm going to put the little link to the Patreon so that anybody who's watching and who's with us, I want to invite you guys to go onto the Patreon and become a regular donor or supporter, even if it's just a few bucks a month. Whatever it is, it's a big help to us because it adds up. And this is how we're going to continue to level up. This is how we're going to get to that next 3-year milestone where we're just blown away by how far we've come. And you get to come along with us for the ride, and you get to benefit from this. So please become a supporter. Jan, what are your closing thoughts here, man?
Well, I want to thank you especially. It's also fair to say that you covered the costs for the last 3 years. And that you've done an amazing job pulling a team together, creating this community, and well, you have your own ways in doing that, and not everybody's always happy about it. But I think
you're an admin now, whether you like it or not.
Right.
By the way, you're running a game in 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's the way how it used to be, yeah. And but no, I think that was necessary in a way to get us to the point we are at right now. And I think the whole community is very, very gracious, and we all have to thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Jan, and I appreciate you, of course, and all the work that you do for us. And you're welcome. And I hope to continue to stick around for a while longer. At some point, I do see myself kind of checking out of the administrative process and everything. And when I do, I want this organization to continue to fly and flourish. This has never been about me or personality cult. It's literally been about, I want to play Kriegspiel. And the only way I'm ever going to get to play Kriegspiel is to teach other people how to do Kriegspiel. And I am very pleased to see that there are a lot of people out there who can do it way better than I can. And I am tickled pink with that, because poor is the pupil who does not surpass his master. And I have been surpassed and lapped so many times. And that makes me happy, because it means when I sit down to play Kriegspiel, I'm going to get some good Kriegspiel. So mission accomplished. Achilles, any final thoughts, man, before we close out?
No, I don't think so. I think it was pretty well covered. But other than to say, as I would say, yes, Jan, of course, is awesome. But I want to say thank you to you, because if I hadn't accidentally found you on YouTube one day when I was dying from COVID, I wouldn't be here now. And you've made it an overall welcoming environment and something exciting. And you've created something that has a life of its own. And, that's always an accomplishment on its own. So thank you for all of that. Stick with it, brother.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to wear this hat for the rest of the day to annoy my family. And I appreciate all of you who have watched this, and those of you who view this in the future. If you are just now learning about the IKS, check us out on kriegspiel.org. Check out our website. And if you think we're a good fit for you, join the Discord, get into some games, get involved. It's open to everybody. There's no membership fee. There's no barriers to entry. You know, we don't need to see like your ID or a background check or a drug test or nothing. We don't care. Everybody's absolutely welcome. As long as you behave well while you're here, you are 100% welcome. And we are happy to have you here. And we love you all. And thank you all for being our supporters. Thank you. All right. Well, we will see you folks on the next adventure. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.